Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching my review of Bankhall British Single Malt. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Welcome to my review of Bankhall British Single Malt. This is an English whisky from Bankhall in Blackpool and it's a triple distilled whisky. It's aged in American virgin oak and then it's finished in ex-bourbon casks. This particular whisky retails for £25 in the UK and is 40% ABV. Should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whisky. So before I start nosing and tasting, let's have a quick look at the colour. I'd say that's like a deep gold. Definitely has a reasonable shade to it. It doesn't say whether or not it's coloured, but I would assume it probably isn't. If you know otherwise, then let me know in the comments. Let's start with the nose. So the first thing I get with this is like vanilla sweetness. I'm getting some toffee. I'm getting honey. There's some candied orange. I'm getting some raspberries. There's some cloves. And there's also some ginger. Definitely has some bright notes indeed. I think that might be due to the age of the spirit. Let's move on to the palate. It's definitely light to start. It doesn't give away much at all. It's only once it evaporates on the palate that you start to get some more notes. There's definitely some sweetness. There's definitely some spiciness. I'm getting like vanilla. I'm getting cinnamon. I'm getting cloves. There's also some ginger as well. So there's definitely some sort of spices that are tingling the palate. And there's also a lot of vanilla sweetness with this. Let's have another sip. Yeah, I'm starting to get notes of like coffee. It's definitely like the smell of coffee rather than the sort of coffee grounds. Yeah, more like fresh coffee, I'd say. There's also like a zingy orange note as the sort of spices sort of tingle on the palate. It brings out this sort of bright orange note. There's also a hint of like star anise or aniseed, and yeah, along with that I'm getting like notes of like cough sweets, like cough candies, that sort of thing. But it's yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's bad or off-putting, but it is quite different to the notes I'd normally pick up on whiskies. Let's have one final sip. Yeah, it's definitely more of the same. It's funny because you definitely don't get anything on the palate as you put it in your mouth, and as it evaporates, the sort of bright fruit notes and the spices definitely sort of explode on the tongue. For 40%, I think it's yeah, it definitely has that subtlety, but yet it starts to open up as it lingers on the palate. In terms of finish, I'd say it's probably medium length. There is a little bit of heat that sort of lingers there. There's pepper, there's sort of new oak, and there's also like barrel spice and slightly sort of tannic green apple skins as well. In terms of value, well, as I said, this retails for £25 in the UK. but it can regularly be found on offer even from the official retailer for this bottling. I've seen it as low as £17, and I think it's the sort of whiskey that's designed to take on the sort of cheaper blended whiskey market. They do make mention of it on their website, the sort of blended Scotch and, Irish whiskies. I think the cheaper end of the sort of supermarket shelves, this is what they're aiming this at. And the fact it says single malt, I think people will think that they're getting a better quality product. And obviously it has the word British on it. But I'm not entirely convinced that this is an English whiskey. Obviously it has Bankhall on there. But it's from a company that has bottled a blend with other British whiskies. And it says it's bottled for Bankhall. It doesn't say that it's made at Bankhall. So I'm not totally convinced that this is an English whiskey. And it doesn't say that it definitely is an English whiskey on their website. And it definitely doesn't say it on most of the sort of information I've seen. It does say it on some of the retailers, but obviously I think they categorise it as English whiskey because it comes from Bankhall, which is obviously based in Blackpool. It'd be interesting to know if this is definitely made in Blackpool. It definitely is an English whiskey, but it potentially, could be made elsewhere because it is from Halewood Artisanal Spirits, which, do own other distilleries. But whether or not this is an English whiskey or not, it is obviously a British single malt, so it comes from one single distillery, and it is made from 100% malted barley. But I think you can definitely taste the youthfulness in this. I think the combination barrels is fine for a young whiskey, that this is most likely. And yeah, I think there'll be plenty of people out there that would be quite happy to buy this at, £17 to £25 and think they've got a great whiskey. I just think that as a sipper, it's probably not for me. And I think if you, really do like your whiskey, then maybe this isn't for you. But if you're new in your whiskey journey, this is a good starting point. Obviously, ABV and price-wise, this is a great introduction. And it definitely brings some interesting notes that you don't often find in a lot of single malts. If you've tried this, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if there's another Bankhall whiskey that you'd like me to try, or another English whiskey, or in fact a British whiskey that you'd like me to try, then just let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Hopefully you found that interesting, and hopefully I'll see you again soon. Sauncher.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.